Hey everyone, it's your girl Emma from EA Public Relations. Welcome to Free Falling in Niagara. Today we're going to talk about police brutality against Black men in Toronto. I'm going to share a clip of a situation that happened with a young Black man by the name of Chase Richards and what happened to him at the hands of two police detectives due to a situation that happened on the bus. I will point out that he did pay his fare. And then you're going to see what happened and how he was treated. I'm also going to share a clip from the police chief by the name of James Raymer. He's the chief of Toronto, and he's going to share the data, the reports that speak to the police brutality against Black men and the numbers and how they don't match. He'll also share his heartfelt feelings and thoughts, followed by an activist who was in the room during that conference. Her name is Beverly Bain, and this sister is going to respond to his comments. And then after that, we're going to hear from a prominent Black attorney by the name of Nia Singh, and he's going to share his feelings and thoughts and his experience at the hand of police. I'm going to play the clip, and then we'll talk about it.
A Toronto bus driver put out a radio call for help. He said a passenger was told to get off the bus and wouldn't. That man is Chase Richards. He says he didn't get off because he'd paid his fare. Minutes later, two Toronto police detectives showed up. They were not in uniform. Richards testified Detective Christopher Hutchins, seen in the plaid shirt, said to the bus driver, "Is this the expletive that is causing the problem?" 20 seconds later, this happened. Richard says he was grabbed by the throat and held that way for about 30 seconds.
But it's certainly not something police train to do, to grab somebody like that.
Richards was then pushed to the ground and handcuffed. After that, the detective sat down and put his feet on Richards' back. Right now, he's suspended with pay. Video from the patrol car was also reviewed today in court.
I got choked. Okay. He physically choked me.
Richards was arrested for causing a disturbance and mischief. The charges were later withdrawn. He told the court today he felt like race was an issue from the start, saying, "I don't think if it was a young white male that entered on the back of the bus, he would go through all that ordeal."
Black people are more likely to be charged, overcharged, and more likely to be arrested by Toronto police. And Black people are more likely to be struck, shot, or killed by Toronto police.
Despite making up only 8.8% of the city's population, Black people represent almost a third of all charges in the data set. Black men in particular are more likely to be proactively charged and subjected to use of force during police interactions. The disturbing trend doesn't stop there. The University of Toronto team behind this report also analyzed data from the province's police watchdog, finding that Black people were significantly overrepresented in special investigations unit cases, which is called in when a civilian is harmed or killed by a police officer. A Black person was nearly 20 times more likely to be shot by Toronto police than a white person. Black people were also involved in nearly 4 out of 10 lower-level use of force cases. These are instances where SIU isn't called in to investigate.
The results have confirmed what for many decades racialized communities, particularly the Black and Indigenous communities, have been telling us, that they are disproportionately over-policed. This data demonstrates the unfortunate realities of those experiences. As Chief of Police, and on behalf of the service, I am sorry and I apologize unreservedly.
An activist in the room spoke up. Beverly Bain of No Pride in Policing refused to accept Raymer's apology.
You talk about it being a painful and a hurtful process to your police officers, but this is insulting to Black people.
I realize it's a very difficult and important day. And we are making...
Nia Singh is a lawyer and human rights advocate, and earlier we spoke about the police practice of carding. He says he's been stopped by Toronto police up to 30 times. So Nia, if I may, let's start right there. 30 times is astonishing, and I'm so curious, how did that change you?
It really drove me to understand the law. Luckily, I had a little bit of understanding, so my interactions with the police, I could articulate myself and things didn't get out of hand. But It's very stressful to be stopped for no reason so many times. And understanding the law just allowed me to fend for myself and now other members of the community.
If, you know, when I think about that context of all you've experienced and all that you do, what's the worth of today's apology for you?
Well, for me, today's apology really signals finally a chief is acknowledging the problems at Toronto Police. There have been previous chiefs who have started stepping in the way. Saunders started with the way forward. Blair teetered around a little things, but then a chief like Fantino outright denied the existence of racial profiling in these issues. So for Chief Raymer to come forward and say this explicitly, apologize, to me it's a good signal. But I know for members of the community who experience the oppression and the violence daily throughout their lives, they want to see more. So I think aside from the apology, there has to be action. The only way this apology can mean anything is if there's accountability that follows.
So we saw what happened to Chase Richards. That brother did not deserve how he was treated by these detectives. Unacceptable. We've also heard from James Raymer, Chief of Police for Toronto. He is talking about the data. The reports speak for themselves. Our brothers are being disproportionately brutalized. Unacceptable. He's talking about change. We want to see change. We no longer want to see words. Our brothers have been suffering through this for decades. Enough is enough. We want action. We heard from the sister, Beverly Bain, another activist, not accepting his apology, and to also suggest that the police force is suffering pain. What do you say about our brothers who have been suffering pain for decades? Unacceptable. We want change. We also heard from Brother Nia Singh, prominent attorney and activist. He's been stopped 30 times by police. 30 times. What does that tell us? What's the message there? No matter what you do, no matter how successful you are, you're going to get stopped by the police if you're a black man. That's what it boils down to. Racism is real. Real in Canada, folks. Real. I'm really looking forward to your comments. I can't wait to have this discussion with you. I'll be following this story and I'll keep you all up to date. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I want to close by saying, I'm wearing this t-shirt. Nevertheless, she persisted. This is for the sisters. This is for the queens. We know how difficult it is for a woman and a black woman to get ahead. We know we have to work twice as hard. So this is just an affirmation for us to remember, nevertheless, no matter what we're facing, we persist. We got this, queens. We got this.